Thank you so much, Yannicka, Augustin, for giving us this lovely introduction, and to all of you for being on the line with us at the end of this year. It's just so valuable to spend some time together, even if we can't be in person. So where do we stand today? Well, coming off the back of COP26 and still in the throes of COVID, our world has got a long shopping list of New Year's resolutions to consider. We could be in a state of fear or despair at our ability to make changes we all seek, not just for our own, but also for our future generations' sake. What can we do? How can any of us make any difference? Why would our efforts really be worthwhile? And for sure, we do all feel this, I'm sure. But history, as we know, is littered with examples of people who have jumped to an altogether more positive mindset to bring us transformational initiatives in response to urgent needs, such as a vaccine, a mobile banking, or a public health service. And these incredible achievements arose when people came together to build on each other's great ideas, maybe even the hot air balloon of Augustin's ancestors. These were all ideas that were driven by a sense of purpose and of a life worth using well. And that is exactly the story of the creation of B Lab itself back in 2006, triggered by a clear failure of the system of capitalism. Each of the three co-founders, Jay, Bart, and Andrew, contributed their collective experience and their own special gifts to give birth to B Lab, with a fragile startup. Jay, with his philosophical mindset and wordsmithing skills, scripted our overarching value system, so beautifully brought to life in the Declaration of Interdependence, which you see on the screen here translated into our European languages. And Bart, with his presentational and business skills, illuminated by his passion and his conviction, he showcased the concept of funders, supporters, and early adopters. And then Andrew, with his deep experience of the investment world, could pinpoint exactly what was missing in capitalism and what needed to change. From this, the business transformational roadmap called the B Impact Assessment was created. So was the legal form of benefit corporation. The Declaration of Interdependence and the beginnings of a community were formed. B Lab survived the financial crash and a movement was really emerging, and it spawned partnerships first in Latin America with Sistema B, and then in Europe, UK, Australia, and now Africa and Asia. And this movement has grown faster during the COVID pandemic period than in any other period. There are founding B Corps, such as King Arthur's Flour in the US, who are now on their 5th round of certification. The individuals in that business at the time believed in the concept, they trusted Jay, Bart, and Andrew, and they aligned with the purpose. And they said, very quickly, the excitement built. It was palatable in our boardroom, conference rooms, break rooms, and around our dinner tables with family and friends. And this has lived on through a new generation of individuals in King Arthur, as these values are so baked into the core of the company. 15 years later, there are now 1/3 of a million of employees all across the globe directly employed in 4,100 B Corps, all united and driven to create change through the B Corp community. And all this started by 3 exceptional people working in a garage with an aligned vision to fix a problem that benefited far more people than just themselves. I don't know how many of you have seen the film Billy Elliot, but there's a wonderful line in it when this awkward 11-year-old boy is asked to dance in front of a formal panel of classical dancers. And of course, he fails miserably to perform to order. Just as he's leaving, he's asked by one of the interviewers, "What does it feel like when you dance, Billy?" And Billy replies, "Like electricity. Yes, like electricity." I won't spoil the ending, but he hit on something really fundamental in that response. Each of us have within us the power to feel that sense of an unstoppable current of energy that emanates from us finding our unique contribution. And then we bring that gift to life and share it freely with others so that together we can indeed change the way business operates, and we can build an economy that works for the benefit of all, not just a few, a truly stakeholder economy. So let's ask Jonathan Normand, a wonderful force of good energy and founder of B Lab Switzerland, what he thinks about how we can all contribute to our aim to create a stakeholder economy. Jonathan, to you.
Thank you, Katie. Hi, everyone. Wow, this is a complex question to get us started today, but it's also a great question, so relevant for our movement to address. As you said, the need to progress to a stakeholder economy is urgent. It also has a deadline. And here I'm thinking about the Agenda 2030, the so-called survival plan for humanity, well framed by Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of United Nations. And so let me reflect on what does an agenda and time mean for all of us. I like to think of us, all as lottery winners every day. We all win the prize of 1,440 minutes every day. And the big question is, how do we spend them? How much of them do we dedicate to taking care of our family and friends, our worker, community members, for inclusive practices, to support advocacy initiative? And how many minutes do we allocate to ensure our own well-being? Thinking about this critical decade of action, when we start 2022, 8 years will remain to achieve the Agenda 2030. And the good news is our civilization has a common agenda, the SDGs. The challenge is how will our movement help to deliver it? How we will use those 3,286 days, those 4.7 million minutes. This time frame will suffice to make stakeholder capitalism the mainstream economic model? Our work to accelerate stakeholder capitalism is to bring it from the niche, where it's currently still is, to the mainstream. And it requires more advancement of stakeholder fiduciary duty across the globe. It requires investors to disclose their adverse impact on both the planet and society. It requires companies to adopt double materiality, disclosing their adverse impact on both planet and society, but being able to clearly distinguish between internal and external impact. It requires transparency and disclosure mechanism. To make matters even more complex, those large-scale collective problems, they are interconnected. And for example, carbon dioxide emission, biodiversity loss, or ocean acidification are all large-scale dilemmas in themselves, but they are also strongly interconnected. And as a result, companies must strive to rescue their resource utilization and become regenerative. And this is vital if we want to foster resource limitation. So we must ask ourselves, are we channeling efficiently enough our collective action and capabilities? How are we system thinkers? How are we the Agenda 2030 makers and less the clock watcher to drive the change we seek? How stakeholders from citizens, consumers, workers, investors, suppliers, policymakers are currently watching us and will watch up more closely in the furthermore. So we must take the lead, we must walk the walk. At the same time, we must be humble. It is not a weakness to not have the answers. It gives us actually more credibility to be transparent and maybe also share where we are struggling. So I have a question for all of us. On top of all our meaningful commitments, how many minutes can we dedicate to create the right space for stewardship of this critical agenda, increasing our capability to empower everyone to be a driving force for change? Like Minute That Matters, trust is built by each authentic action conducted by individual, from our team members, within our value chain, and within our communities. So yes, the clock is ticking. We need speed, we need action. We aren't perfect. Superheroes struggle with realities of bringing system change to life. It's our role to bring more hope and solution. It's our unified raison d'être. And it's difficult. We will make mistakes, but we will learn from each other and improve. And I will not end with a thank you, but with a please. It's time more than ever to place our trust in the survival plan for the humanity, Agenda 2030, which is backed by science and will be delivered by an entrepreneurial spirit and all stakeholders working together. How interdependence core value, well explained by Katie at the beginning, is about working together. Collaboration can make things possible that alone feel overwhelming. And I feel blessed to lead the beat with you all. And remember, every second counts. And so question for you, Katie, and where and how we all as individuals contribute to the B Corp movement to take this to the next.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. You're so right. This collective stewardship of our critical agenda is so relevant. Look, B Corp certification is a company level, but actually it's all about the individuals. Every one of us, all of us have a stake in that company and can drive this forward. So I think whether we're in the boardroom and trying to expand the quarterly agenda to address the impact of the company, or in the sustainability team trying to work out what are the really meaningful metrics to measure what matters, whatever we're doing, or maybe we're the intern who's been with us for 100 days and really wants to know how it felt, we're all part of this. The only thing that limits us is our imagination and our need to prioritize those actions that will bring most impact first. And that's actually something we'll hear about in our next session on systems change. But one last thing to say before we pass over is that it is really important now we take care of each other. We do need to give each other space to recuperate, to rebuild resilience. And when the current is low, this electrical current we all have, we need to accommodate all of each other's needs and perspectives. We need to reach out to those who are not with us in the room too. And so one of the joys of this community is curiosity and empathy. And it's these qualities that will definitely help us reach our earthshot and realize the change we seek. So just look around you and admire these amazing individuals on the screen with you. And later you'll have a chance to connect with them. This is, what can we do? There's no limit, just our imagination. So thank you very much for letting us start off this session. I'm now going to hand it back to Janneke for our wonderful session on systems change. Thank you.